Hello folks, hope everyone's keeping well out there. Well, this is a weird looking sky. Blue skies nice on one side, big black heavy rain clouds on the other. Wow, so I'm trying to thread my way through without going towards the big black dark rain clouds. Anyway, just out on a spin this evening. Yeah, I was just riding along the road, minding my own business, and a biker pulled me over. And I kind of go, is he okay? Does he need help? What's going on? He's a blood biker, and he says, oh, I recognise you from your YouTube channel. I was going, oh, okay, cool. So he's a blood biker on his way out to do a delivery of blood and stuff, I'm sure. Fair play to them all, the volunteers that do that work. Yeah. So yeah, he just pulled me over for a chat and to say hello. Very nice. So if you're on the channel, say hi. So yeah, I was out for a ride this evening. I've a pain in my coccyx, shall we say, for long rides, and I do get a pain in my back, in my lower back. And I decided to ask others who have GSs, so the UK GSR forum. I said, lads, any advice, any recommendations before I throw money away and buy whatever type of seats? There are so many types of seats out there. Wunderlich do a seat, comfort seat, Touratech do a comfort seat, BMW have a comfort seat, then there's Sargent, then there's there's loads of others. There really is. There's a good few others. And then there's things like, what's it, cool skins or something like that. I'll have to find out what that is now. I'll put it in. And then, you know, there's the old adages of, you know, a pure wool seat covering. And there's Airhawk and stuff like that. So I put up online, you know, this is a bike I'm riding, lads. Any thoughts, advice, recommendations, ideas? I could have gone that way, couldn't I? Oh, let's go this way. And people came back, you know, try this, change this, these settings here, there. And I'm kind of going, yeah, look, I don't think it's a settings issue on my bike. I think it's the seat. It's either the seat, the way I'm seated, stuff like that. And one comment was, you know, Airhawk isn't overly expensive. And I thought to myself, well, actually I have an Airhawk. I used it on the bobber a lot, and it did help me a lot on the bobber, so yeah, sitting in the shed, just stick it on the bike. So other comments are like, you know, check your seat height, whether it's in the upper or lower position, blah blah blah. So I started looking through the manual at the seat and seat adjustments, and I'm like, okay, there's a seat height, you can have it either in upper or lower. And I went, right, I have it in lower, and then I realised, well, actually, there are two adjustments, one front and one rear. And you can have them the same or you can have them differently. Okay, let me have a look. So it turns out that I had the front was in the low position, and yet the rear was in high position. So I was sloped more to the front of the bike than in natural seating position. So I've adjusted the seat now, so it's both in the lower position. That seemed, from just sitting on the bike, to be better. And I went, okay, that seems a bit better. And then I stuck on the Airhawk, and I went, okay, that seems a bit more comfortable. So I decided I would get out this evening and see what way. Oh, lovely smell from that thing. Country air. See what way it feels, and it actually feels quite nice. But I think my Airhawk for the GS is slightly overinflated, and I need to let a bit more air out of it just to bring it down just that tiny bit more. And I suppose it depends on the bike, the seat, you, your weight, etc. I don't know, have I lost a little weight? Potentially. But I feel like I'm floating a bit more on this than I was on the Bobber. And of course the actual physical seat on the Bobber was very different. I had a Corbin seat on the Bobber, which is a lot more surrounding, encapsulating. You sit into it a lot more. It's a bit more of a bucket effect. That's the best way to describe it, I think. So yeah, I think it's a combination of factors. So I will have to let a little bit more air out of this Airhawk ladder and see how that feels. But so far, like, I'm only out half an hour, 40 minutes. So far it does seem a little bit better. But of course I won't really know until I'm out for a few hours on the bike. Normally it's when you're hitting the 3, 4, 5 hour stretch, it's when you really start to feel it. Then you start shifting around, and yeah, I hope this will help enough so I don't have to shift around too much. Especially when you're on long days, or rides that you're really looking forward to enjoying. You don't want to have to be shifting around, feeling uncomfortable. And there are many different seats and seat types, and some are, gel inserted, some have a slot where your coccyx sit in the middle of it, so there's no pressure on it. Some are supposed to spread your weight more, some are firmer, which your body just sits on it a bit flatter as such. So I will give this a try. I will consider other options before I splash out big money and buy a replacement seat. Like, you're not talking cheap chips here. You're talking 600-700 up, depending on what change and what you're going for. Sargent one I looked at it's nearly €1,000. Then you add shipping and tax on top of that, you're probably talking 1,400 euro. So you would want to be certainly doing the miles to justify that kind of thing. And I'm not saying I'm not far off it. I do put the miles in. I put 9,000 kilometers on the bike last year. This year has been quieter, so I'm only about 5,000 kilometers on it this year. Next year I hope to go over to France again and other bits and pieces, so that'll be another, I'm gonna say 8,000 or 9,000 kilometer year, hopefully. So I like using the bike, and I like getting out on weekends. So yeah, if I'm putting in the distance, I can sort of justify the expenditure for the added comfort. So that's my thoughts for today. Seating, pain in the ass. It's what I'm trying to avoid. But yeah, so far seat adjustment to low, and the AirHawk seems to be doing a job for me. Like everything else, it's the little bits and pieces that make the difference. There's not a whole lot else going on in my biking realm at the moment. Yeah, I was going through the manual for the bike. I was kind of, ooh, never knew that, and let me have a look at that configuration. So sometimes it pays to read through the manual and you never know what you find. Now I know, before I even got this bike, I had gone through the manual. I've got to say, I read through the manual nearly twice before I even received the bike. So that was fine. Then I got the bike, then made minor little tweaks, watched a few YouTube clips about setting up the bike and configuration and that kind of stuff, and then I've just been riding. So yeah, it was interesting to go through the book again, find bits and pieces, and go, oh, right, yeah, there's things here that I can't say I never knew about, but there's things here that I can go through again, look up and see what's what. So little things like bike settings. So I went through the bike settings and the ride modes, and for the last year and a bit I've had it pre-configured with effectively 3 quick change ride modes. Eco, when I'm in and around the city. Rain, for when the roads are just crappy. And then Dynamic Pro, because I had gone into Dynamic Pro and changed a few little bits and pieces. Turns out the bits I changed in Dynamic Pro effectively gave me identical settings to Dynamic. Yeah, okay, Dynamic Pro. So in Dynamic Pro you can go in and turn off all the extra safety features like wheelie assist, ABS assist and stuff like that. And it's for people who really know what they're doing. Not someone like me. But you know, you can turn off the ABS Pro and stuff like that, so you can do stoppies and you can do wheelies and stuff like that. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing stoppies, and I don't really want to be doing wheelies, so I can turn that stuff back down to effectively the dynamic mode. And there are 2 of the main functions that you would turn off in Dynamic Pro, where you control all the different settings. So yeah, I just changed the bike back now, so I have Eco for when I'm in the city, Rain for when it's crappy, and then Dynamic, because it is effectively Dynamic is the mode I ride in the majority of the time when the roads are dry. Tight. So yeah, playing around with those things and then looking at other settings and little bits and pieces. So that's my little spin today. Taking in these roads, riding away from the rain now, and as you can see, lovely blue skies, puffy clouds ahead of me, and very big dark clouds behind me. So as long as I'm going away from them, I'm not too bad. I don't mind a bit of rain when I have to go somewhere, but I'm just out for a spin for enjoyment to try and avoid the rain where possible. Anyway, I hope everyone's keeping well out there. Ride safe, enjoy yourselves, and yeah, never be afraid to say hello. Alright, take care folks.